Our brain gives us challenges. And if you're not strong enough to be the one who controls the mind, not the vice versa, obviously it's gonna take over. It is so easy to be mediocre and have mediocre life by being an overthinker. I know it might sound dramatic, but if you will think about it, all the successful people, at least who I know, are people who overthink the least. And that is one of the huge differences between successful and not successful people, that successful people are confident, right? That is exactly that confidence that makes them make choices really fast. And in this video, I'm not only talking about overthinking your choices, life choices, career or love or whatever choices, but also conversations and everyday things. Overthinking means that you're not confident. Have you ever seen CEO or, I don't know, the most successful person you know overthink what they talked about with other leaders or with their employees? I don't think so. Obviously, we're human, and I'm sure that everybody has this to some degree, but it's one of the ways to stay stuck. And yeah, it is so easy to talk about how to stop overthinking. Stop overthinking. Duh. How did I not think about it before? I know it's not that easy, but I definitely have some ways. Because first of all, you need to know what overthinking is, where it comes from, so you acknowledge this. And since awareness is one thing that helps you destroy the thing, that's what we're going to talk about first. Because without knowing where it comes from or what it is actually, you're not going to be able to just say goodbye to this addiction. People who are affected by the circumstances around them are mostly people who get addicted to something really easily. And yes, overthinking is one of them. Maybe it doesn't seem as scary as other like legit addictions, let's say, but believe me, slowly and secretly it is controlling your life. So if you have problem of letting go this situation or conversation you've had a week ago or a month ago, it doesn't matter, whenever it happened, first thing I would do is check my self-worth. What I think about myself, self-image. Because that is how I started to recognize this issue that I've had and where overthinking came from. That I actually thought that my opinion about myself was less important than what others thought about me. Which is crazy. Like, why would you think like that, right? Because obviously your opinion is more important. But if it was, you wouldn't overthink those conversations and the things that you've said to this person or whatever you've done or whatever you did. You wouldn't criticize and you wouldn't have this yearning of changing whatever you said or whatever you did. And the reason for replying all these conversations in your head and like repeating all these conversations in your head and sometimes even changing it in your head, like maybe you want it this way or that way and you're changing it. The reason for it is fear of judgment, first of all. Second, distorted self-image. Third, need of validation, and also perfectionism. Where does it come from? All of it come from our traumas that we have. And it says a lot about how your self-confidence evolved throughout years. And first thing, if you need to let go of overthinking, is to work on your confidence. Confidence and what I think about myself. And what's my self-worth. If I really think that my opinion is more important than other people's opinions, I'm obviously not gonna overthink what I did. So overthinking is just not this trait of your personality, you know? It comes from deeper wounds and deeper issues that you have in yourself. It's just one of the more visible things in yourself that sometimes you even connect with other people. With this topic, you know, you're like, I'm so overthinker. Like, exactly, girl. I don't know, I overthink everything from relationships to conversations. That's not something to be proud of or to be connected upon because it's literally taking you to places you don't want to go. For example, in my case, I've always been this person who overthinks every single little detail. I wanted to have control over everything. First of all, how others saw me. Like, I really wanted some people to see me in a certain way. Why? Because I didn't like myself enough to be just me, you know? First of all, we don't have control over anything in this world. Not to mention like conversations and how other people see us. You never know what's going on in others' heads. Because first, nobody ever is gonna see you as you want them to see you. Well, to the degree, obviously, you could do some stuff that will make you look in a certain way. But the thing is, you never know how this person is gonna perceive you. You never know about this stuff. Second, even if you did something wrong and they have now wrong impression of you, you still cannot do anything about it. What you're gonna do? Like, fight? What are you gonna do? Be so desperate about what you're gonna do and say next with this person? You're wasting so much of your energy that you could literally focus onto something that would make you very successful and happy in your life. But no, it is so easy to be affected. Not the person who is in charge, but someone who is affected by the circumstances and whatever happens. But all of these things come from deeper wounds, obviously, and you need to focus on that now. If you want to let go of overthinking, that is the only thing that you can do to stop it, is to work on your self-confidence, self-worth. Be honest with yourself. What do you think about yourself? And as soon as you become aware of this, half of the problem is gone. That is the best thing ever. Like, why wouldn't you use that to your own good, right? Like, when you become aware of stuff, do not let go of them. Get deeper. And one of the best things you can do in that area of your life is to go to therapy. And I'm a big advocate of encouraging people to go to therapy, because that is one of the things that helped me so much. I cannot even explain with words. I cannot be more grateful to myself that I decided to go to therapy. And so many things come to surface when you go to therapy that is probably the best investment ever. No shoe, no clothes, no anything is better investment than going to therapy. Believe me, it is gonna literally change trajectory of your life, where you're going. It's gonna multiply your earnings. It's gonna multiply your confidence, and to find those deep traumas. And overthinking is one of the most obvious patterns that all of us have, that holds us back in everything, literally. When you overthink conversations, believe me, you're gonna overthink your life decisions in every area. Am I gonna do this now? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should wait. And you wait. You wait for whole your life some things to happen to you. And that is how you live. You're not the one who's in control, actually. But overthinking gives you this illusion of having control when you actually have zero control. If you really want to have control in your hands, is to have control in your brain first, and what thoughts it's giving you. Overthinking is one problem, but this problem can give you other problems, such as social anxiety. Because at one point, I remember, I was so consumed by overthinking that I became antisocial. When I was literally social butterfly, I distanced myself from everything else for over a year. I was like, I found out that I'm antisocial person when I was social butterfly. How did it happen? There was a reason for it, right? Obviously, we all have these phases and it always comes and goes, but I was so sure that it was not me. No, I was just so tired of overthinking stuff. My brain decided that, it found solution. To be honest, it was really good that I thought that I was antisocial, because I had a lot of time to think about myself and how I perceived myself. I wanted people to see me in a certain way because I was seeking validation. I was seeking approval. I really wanted to be my mysterious queen, but I could never do that. You know why? Because I wasn't. But somehow, I really wanted this role. Probably because of my past experiences where people told me, oh my god, you talk too much. You're too passionate. Like, why are you aggressive? It affected me. And I became this damaged girl who is controlled by anything that happens around her. It is not fun. Do you know how you notice that you're controlled by everything around you? By noticing that you overthink it. It means that, yes, it affected you to the point where you literally gave all your energy and focus to changing that situation in your head, this conversation or decision that you've made. I cannot just tell you, stop overthinking. It just doesn't happen like that, because this is surface level problem. Under that, there's a big trauma that you have that makes your brain overthink stuff. This naturally, I'm overthinker, no, you have issues with self-worth. Let me be honest with you, because when I was honest with myself, that's when my improvement started. If you overthink stuff, it literally means that you don't think that you're good enough. Your words and actions are not good enough. So you repeat all these things that happened, so your brain kind of makes an illusion out of it that you kind of changed it, in your brain. By overthinking, you're trying to make sense of what you did and why you did it, and you question it. Like you're literally going up and down this topic, and you're like trying to prove yourself that yes, you were actually enough. Yeah, it was totally enough, right? If it wasn't, then you try to change it, so your brain makes an illusion. And by overthinking all of this, tells you that you're still seeking validation from yourself now. Because now that you don't have anyone else telling you like, oh my god, you said it so wrong, like that was so stupid of you to say it like that, or you looked so ugly, or nobody's telling you anything. It is your brain that you need to find excuses for, so it doesn't judge you that much. It is your primal habit to go to. But probably you've had to go through a lot of judgment throughout your childhood that it was so natural for your brain to go to that judge mode, like stressing over not being good enough. Those stuff are what you need to really focus on, because overthinking is exactly in the middle of your past and future problems. That's what I figured. Overthinking comes from deeper problem, but overthinking creates unwanted future, because overthinking wasn't just a part of my personality, it actually was coming from something deeper. And what I figured was overthinking was taking me to places I really didn't want to be in. For example, circle of people. You're going to the same level of people you are, right? You cannot just go to a group of millionaires. You cannot just go and be friends with group of millionaires out of nowhere and group of the most successful people you know, because mentally you're not there. They have different problems. Like for now, your problem is overthinking, and it comes from something else that you need to figure out. And probably it is fear of judgment, seeking validation, perfectionism, and self-image problems. That is all that I've had, and all I had to work on. Obviously, I'm not gonna say that I don't overthink anything. I'm so perfect. No, I obviously had probably overthought something, but it is so not part of my life anymore. Such a big difference in between who I start to be friends with and what kind of situations I get into, because my brain is not focused on such small details that literally do not change anything. Actually, imagine the situation where you get into conversation with the most successful people you know, and this person has been your idol for a long time, and you get into conversation with this person, and then you go home, it's time to go to bed, and you start to overanalyze everything that you said to this person. And especially because this is, icon for you. You start overthinking everything that you said. Most probably, yeah, you would, right? Since we're convinced that rational mind will help us solve these problems, let's rationalize it. First, do this person really think about you that much? No. I will guarantee you 99% of the time, the successful person, this big person you put on the pedestal in your head, is most probably they don't want to spend their energy and time on overthinking whatever you said, okay? That's not how they got there, by overthinking stuff, right? So basically, this person doesn't care about you. They don't think about you as much. For example, if you said something so fucked up, at least they would be like, in the moment they might have thought, oh, the fuck, but that's that. Nobody's gonna overthink whatever you said. You're the only one who overthinks those conversations. Let's talk about second scenario. Someone like you, on the same level that you have this person in the same level in your head. You're just peers, maybe go to same university or same workplace or office or whatever. You're literally equal in your head. And then you have this conversation, or I don't know, whatever, and you go home and then overthink about this conversation, let's be logical. Probably this person is doing the same about themselves. They don't have time to overthink about you. They're doing it about themselves. Okay? Let's agree on this, because if you think you're equal in your head, most probably this person is doing the same as you. So still, nobody's really thinking about you. Or a third scenario where you have conversation with the most loser person in your head, that this person is total loser, you think, and then you go home and overthink about this conversation. But in this scenario, most probably you're not overthinking as much as you would about other people, right? Because in your head, this person is a loser, right? So what we understand from this situation, if all of this is true for you, if not, what are you doing? And because you don't really care what the loser is going to think about you, right? It means that your brain is still tricking you into thinking that there are people more deserving, better than you, and they stand above you. And that's exactly why you overthink stuff. Even if the issue was that they really overthought judging you and spending all that energy and focus on judging you in their head, they're probably not as cool as you think they are. Your brain creates every problem. Problems do not exist. Your brain creates them. Your brain creates the hierarchy in your brain. Your brain creates who is above who, and who's worth overthinking or who's not worth overthinking. Find the base trauma that causes you to overthink. Second, your focus is literally everywhere else besides where it should be. You're not the best, but you're not the worst. You're mediocre. That's what overthinking makes you feel like. Because obviously you're not thinking about yourself in a way where you do not question everything you've said and done, but you're not so bad that you immediately know that it was a really bad thing to do. Your subconscious mind constantly receives the messages about how mediocre you are, and you always believe it. And guess what happens then? You create future where you stay exactly same. Again, it is not just part of your personality where you just overthink stuff. You don't just overthink stuff. Believe me, it comes from deeper wounds and you need to take care of them. If you didn't, I hope at least now you agree with me that it paralyzes your growth. It equals missed opportunities. One of the quickest fixes to stop overthinking, because it is just very unpleasant, is to ask a question to myself. Is this important in 5 years? If not, delay it at least. I will worry about later. I will overthink it later. That is the quickest way to trick your brain into not overthinking something. At least it worked for me, and I hope it will work for you. And it is so addictive because it all constantly creates the feeling of having control in your hands, because your brain tells you, yeah, you should have said that, and now repeat that conversation and say it, So you're like, you have this imaginary people in your head that literally do not exist in your present moment right now, but you recreate them in your head, and you're throwing them this and that statements that you should have said. Is it not so tiring to live in past, which you cannot actually change? And it is so dangerous to get used to this feeling, because having control is something that everybody dreams of, but in reality doesn't exist. So you're getting addicted to something that doesn't exist. Control. That is exactly what overthinking makes you feel like. You have control. Illusion, right? It's a lie. That's probably worst addiction you could have. At least sugar and nicotine exist, right? Here we are, getting addicted to something that doesn't exist. Control. We don't want that. And anything you feed your brain with is something that your brain believes, okay? There is no such thing as reality and imaginary for the brain. Whatever you give it, it believes. And eventually what it does, it confuses thinking into doing. Obviously, you will have false feeling of having control in your hands. Even if you don't have enough resources for therapy, go to internet. The best therapist, if you will use it wisely. Because there's tons of information about every single thing. If you really want to, you can change it. You can do it. So yeah, thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of this video. And if you did, please like and subscribe. and I will see you in the next one. Mwah!